Great. Hello, English students. Welcome to another class brought to you by the Facebook of Language Learning Online. I'm talking about verbling.com. What an amazing website. We have people connecting from all over the world, coming together to work together to learn a second language. What an awesome situation. I am so happy to be part of this website as one of the English teachers. My name is Geoff Watson, and I come from Vancouver, Canada. This hour, we are going to be reading the transcript, so the word-for-word transcript of a podcast produced by the British Broadcasting Corporation, which is a broadcaster funded by the British government. And we are going to be talking about, well, I don't really like the title of the podcast. We are really going to be talking about the responsibility of a captain to stay on his boat, his or her boat or ship, until everyone has left the ship in the case of an emergency. It is the responsibility of the captain to make sure that if there is an emergency, everyone gets safely off of the boat or ship. Okay, so what I would like everyone to do is to please download the document so that you have it on your computer. It's called E5. That's the one that I prepared. There's another PDF. What was that called? B3. The PDF. That was prepared, PDF, that was prepared by the BBC. And that is the transcript of the audio podcast. And so what we're going to do is to read this to read the transcript first, and then we're going to listen to the podcast, and then we can share our opinions about this issue. And so what I would like to do is to ask people to say hello and to tell us where they're calling from. And I would like to ask everyone, have they ever been on a big boat or ship? Have they ever gone on a cruise ship, for example, or perhaps a ferry traveling from one place to another? And so let's get started. Gentlemen, or Herman, are you ready to go?
Hi, yes, I'm trying to find where is the PDF text.
Yeah, now, so with all of the Verbling classes, you have the information about the course, actually where you entered by pushing on the green button. Just below on the website is a button called the course materials.
Okay, right.
And so, and often, well, Mine, has put the direct link into the Verbling chat box. So I think you can just click on that and download it. All right, and so where are you connecting from, and what can you give us some examples of some big boats or ships that you have been on?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been in boats, big boats.
Yes, okay.
But I remember when I was child, I have some travels in boats here near from my house in the Rio de la Plata River.
Mm-hmm.
And well, it was very funny and a very good experience.
Okay. So you took a trip? Is that what you said? In the boat?
Yes, small
Yeah.
trips.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, small trips. Is somehow is a kind of sightseeing all
Sure.
around
Okay, good.
the river.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Some sightseeing tours on the river. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
great.
right. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, welcome. I'm
Thank you.
looking forward to going to see that place soon. Julissa,
Hi, Jeff. Hi,
welcome.
everybody.
Have
Thank
you
you.
ever taken a cruise or a boat trip?
No, I've never been on a cruise or a big ship, but I've seen them from outside in the port, but I've never taken a trip on a ship.
Okay, and little boats?
Yes, little boats. Yes, I remember once I give some like around the sea to see the sea lions. We
Oh,
did
great.
that round. Yeah, we did that round in boat.
Okay, excellent, great. And Mine, welcome.
Hello. Uh, my name is Mine. I am from originally Turkey, but I live in the USA now currently. And I haven't been taking cruise. I think 2 years ago I celebrate my birthday in the cruise. It was very fun and enjoyable, and I want to take another cruise.
Okay, where did you go?
We went Mexico, Cozumel Island, and Belize City.
Sorry, after Cozumel?
Belize.
Oh, Belize, the
Yeah,
country?
Belize. Sorry,
Yeah.
Belize, yes.
We say Belize. Yeah.
Okay, Belize.
Oh, great. Okay, and you stopped in Belize and got off the ship?
Generally, the cruise stop in the morning and they land off in, it's like a dinner time or afternoon. And we spend almost 8 hours each place, Cozumel and
Okay.
Belize.
Okay, great, great. All right, thank you. And Victor, hello.
Hi.
Where
you hear
are
me?
you? Yes, perfectly. Where are you connecting from?
Yeah, I'm from China. I've
Okay.
been to your class once before,
Okay,
and now
excellent.
I'll tell you
Sorry, we just lost your sound, Victor. Could you please turn
hello?
on your microphone? Yes.
Okay. I've been on some ship, but not cruise. Only some small ship crossing the Yangtze River several
Okay.
times.
So this
And
is a ferry?
yeah,
Yeah. So does it take cars on it? Trucks and cars on it, or just people?
just people.
Okay. All right. Great. And yeah, what we say in English, ship is something large. And so boat's sort of a generic name, but a ship is definitely something big. Yeah. All right. Great.
Yeah.
And I'd like to talk to Jabber. Are you there? No. And so, okay, there's the four of us. Great. Yes, I remember when you were part of the class, Victor. It was perfect timing because we were talking about China.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. And so let's get started. I'm going to bring the document that I've prepared up on the share screen. And let's read through the transcript. And again, everyone is welcome to ask as many questions as you want. So, Herman, could you please start reading for us?
Yeah, sure. BBC Learning English, 6-minute English, Captain's Etiquette. Rob, hello and welcome to 6-minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Rob and joining me today is Jen. Hi. Hi, Jen. Now I'm sure, like everyone else, you heard the news recently about the cruise ship.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
That was my fault. The cruise ship.
The cruise ship, the Costa Concordia, which hit some rocks and capsized or overturned.
Okay, great. And so these two words are pretty much synonyms to capsize or overturn. And here's a photograph. And so sorry, I deleted the date. I shouldn't have. And so, Mine, did you remember when this happened?
Yes, I remember. Actually,
Was it before your cruise or after it?
before, yeah, before it's
Okay.
happening.
Yeah, and unfortunately, quite a few people died in this accident. And so
Yeah.
really a sad situation. Okay, and so right, what I'll do is let's move on. Julissa, could you continue reading for us, please?
Yes. Jane. Yes, I will hear. It really was a dreadful story. Terrible news for everyone involved. Rob. It was a terrible disaster. People have been discussing and speculating how it happened and particularly about the actions of the captain. In today's program, we're talking about what is and what isn't acceptable behavior for the captain of a ship during a disaster at sea. Jane. In other words, the captain's etiquette. But Rob, shouldn't we start with a question?
Okay, and I'll stop you there for a second. And this is why I don't know why they chose to use this word etiquette, because etiquette to me are the rules of being polite and diplomatic, and when you're out in a nice restaurant, don't use your cell phone at the table. That's bad manners. It's not correct etiquette. And so really, I think we're talking about, with the captain of that ship, we're talking about that he had a legal responsibility to supervise the rescue and the evacuation of the ship. And so, yeah, I don't really understand why they talk about etiquette, although it might be a British expression. This is the British spelling of program. Here is the American spelling, and behavior without the U. So that is the simplified American spelling. Any other questions or comments? A dreadful story, really a terrible accident. Okay, and so let's talk about our question here. And so, Mine, could you read this? They always have a question each podcast.
Okay.
Rob,
Of course, I hadn't forgotten. As we are talking about ships, I wonder if you know how heavy the world's biggest cruise ship, Oasis of the Seas, weighs. Is it 2,500 tons, 25,000 tons, and 250,000 tons?
Okay, great. And so, what's your impression of this? Anybody? Has anybody seen a photograph of this ship before?
First time.
Oh yeah? Okay. So this is it. This is the Oasis of the Seas. And why is it famous?
It's the biggest in the world.
This is the biggest ship in the world, period. Now, I wonder if some of these military ships are bigger, but I don't think so. I think this is literally the biggest ship in the world. And this photograph is really quite amazing too. It's just like an absolutely huge building. And look, there's a helicopter flying, and it's not even above the boat. Yeah. All right. And so how much would that weigh? That's pretty crazy. Tons. Now I think this is the American spelling, but then a British ton is different from an American ton. So just use the metric system. It's a lot easier. And so, sorry, I'm going to move on. Victor, could you continue reading for us, please?
Okay, it's my turn.
Yes, please.
Jen, I can honestly say I've got no idea about how much a cruise ship could weigh, but I guess if it is the world's biggest, out for the biggest number, 250,000 tons. Well, I'll review the answer at the end of the program. So today, we are talking about the role of the captain on the ship. In the recent disaster involving the coastal Crocodile, it was sorry, this word I cannot pronounce correctly.
Alleged?
Alleged? What's the meaning?
Well, alleged means that people accused the captain. They said that something bad happened.
Oh yeah, accused the captain. Yeah, I know. I'll continue. It was alleged the captain abandoned ship before all his passengers had escaped. Whether this is true or not, what should the captain do in such a situation?
Okay, and I'll get you to stop there. Thank you. Sorry, I'll get you to stop there. So great. So yeah, it was alleged. So this means that people are saying that something bad happened. They felt, they feel, they think that something bad happened, and that the captain abandoned the ship before the passengers were safe. All right, so great. Let's keep going. Any questions or comments, just please turn on your microphone. And Ampray, hello, how are you?
Hi.
Welcome.
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Could you please read this for us?
Yes. Well, when the famous ship Titanic sank in 1912, the captain was the last on board. Very heroic. Let's hear from another heroic man, Lord West of Spithead. He used to be the professional head of the British Royal Navy, what is called the First Sea Lord. He was captain of HMS Arden in the Falklands War and was the last man on board when it sank.
Okay, and so what we're talking about is the Titanic, the famous boat that sank in 1912, and the captain stayed on board. All right, and so let's keep going here. Now this, there's going to be one more phrase, and then we're going to be reading his words. Herman, could you read this for us?
Yes. So he understands why abandoning ship is never an option for a captain, even during a disaster. Here he's speaking to the BBC's James Naughtie about the history of this captain's etiquette. What does he say is expected of a captain?
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, Lord West of Spithead. Well, I think it's a very important custom and a rule. It goes, if you think back to the Titanic, the Lusitania, you know, the captain stayed on the bridge until they were washed off as the ship sank. And I think it is expected. And I think it is expected of a captain to remain on board to look after the safety and security of his people until the last one has gone.
Okay, great. And has anybody heard those expressions where women and children first, or abandoned ship? Yeah, okay.
If someone watched the Titanic movie, everybody.
Yes, I remember. And I remember the moment when the captain died.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so the captain goes down with his ship. We almost always talk about captains as being men, unfortunately, but yeah, the captain goes down with the ship. So this is the Titanic in the harbor. I believe it's a real photograph. And then the terrible news of the ship sinking on its first voyage. What a terrible disaster. 1,500 people died. And what's this?
Ronald?
Sorry?
Rural.
The ruins?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And now, what do we say? We don't say the ruins. Well, we say maybe the remains of the ship. But
Wreckage?
yeah, okay, wreckage. Yeah, but that's usually broken pieces and things. I mean, this is the Titanic. It's the boat. It's on the bottom of the ocean. So just over 100 years. This is another ship that was sunk, I believe, by a German submarine, the Lusitania. And so that's some of the news here. But it sounded like the captain was saved when he was in the water. And so let's move on. Some of those very famous ship sinkings. Julissa, could you read this, please?
Yes. Rob. So in a disaster, he thinks staying at the ship controls, or what is called the bridge, is an important custom and rule. It is the expected behavior. Jane. Yes, it's what people expect the captain to do. He is responsible for the safety and security of his passengers until the last one has gone. On the Titanic, the captain was finally washed off the bridge as it sank. Rob. But even captains are obeying the rules or doing what they think is right. There could be something else that compels them to stay on board. This is something the BBC's James Nowry asked Lord West of Spithead.
Okay, great. So let's stop there for a second. So the bridge is the place where all of the controls of the ship are. Okay, where it is steered. And let me see. Sorry, any comments?
What's the meaning of finally watched off?
Right. Okay. So literally, and it seems like that happened in this ship here, the Lusitania, where as the ship goes down, the water comes up and literally with waves washes the captain off of the bridge being at the top of the boat. So the ship will literally sink below the captain, and the captain will be washed off by the water and go up to the surface. I guess that's the idea. And just the last part of this word we really pronounce like the letter 10, captain. It's underpronounced, captain. Okay, and I'm going to move on to Mine. Could you read this, please?
I want to know what is the word compel mean.
To
What does
compel.
it compel?
Yeah, and so in this case, it is to motivate the captain to do something. When you are compelled to do something, sometimes the context is you're being forced to do something. There is an inner desire for you to do something. And so, yes, it's the captain's responsibility to stay on the ship until everyone else is off the ship. But there's sort of an emotional attachment that a captain would have for their ship that compels them. It's sort of part of their behavior, sort of part of their automatic behavior. And so let's keep going if that sort of answers your question enough.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, it's your turn, isn't it, Mine?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Where are we here?
James.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Time.
James Naughty.
Knocky. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't really know how it's pronounced. We'll hear this in the podcast.
Okay. It is more than that, isn't it? It is more than a practical question of, being in a charge until the rescue is complete. It is something that's in the DNA of a seagoing person. It is unthinkable. It just goes underly against the grain to be anything but the last man off. Lord west of Spithead. That is absolutely right. It is a core accept of
Duty.
duty.
So he's referring to it as being a core, so a central aspect, sort of a central part of the duty, the responsibility of being the captain of a ship. And to go against the grain, we don't usually put utterly there. To go against the grain means to defy or, let me see, to kind of not be natural. In this situation, it just would be very surprising behavior. And I think that's why people were so surprised by the behavior of the captain in Italy, abandoning the ship before his passengers were safe. Victor, could you read this, please?
Okay. So that's James Naughty suggesting that staying until everyone is off the ship is part of captain's DNA. It's in their genes.
Genes. Mm-hmm.
Genes. He used a good phrase. It goes utterly against the grain. It goes against the grain to be anything but the last man off. In other words, you do the opposite of what is usually done. Oh, you are not willing to abandon ship because it contradicts what you believe in. And Lord West of Spithead agrees. He says, it's a core aspect of duty. It's the most important part.
Okay, great. And I'll get you to stop there. I thought maybe I would just turn off the screen share here for a second. So if I have a piece of wood, the grain of the wood is the pattern. And so if you move your hand one way, it's very smooth. But if you go against the grain, it's rough and your hand catches there. And so if you try to do something against the grain, you're going to meet a lot of resistance. And so that's part of the expression as well. And so people who sort of do things the opposite, it's much harder to go against the grain. All right. And so where are we here? Sorry, I'm a little bit lost.
Basically,
yeah, and so go ahead, Ampre.
basically, the ship is the captain's top priority, even more important than his wife and family. Yes, incredible. And Lord West of Spithead used a name to describe what captains call their ships. Have a listen to this. Certainly, in the Royal Navy, it referred to your grey mistress. Because your grey mistress? Because you spend more time looking after your ship and being with your ship and everything that you ever do with your wife, your family. And it's an absolute part of you, and there comes a stage where you'll fight like mad to keep your ship safe, to look after it and to secure it. And then you have to make a decision that is too late. Your ship is going to go. You then have to look after your people and the people you're responsible for.
Okay, great, excellent. And so I guess this is part of being in the Navy. So did you understand this idea of a gray mistress? Any comments?
Hi, I think I usually read some books and they use mistress as a dirty word. Is that right?
Right. No, mistress is not a dirty word, but it does have kind of a negative connotation in that a mistress is another woman besides your wife. And
Is it
so,
the same?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same as
Okay.
lover?
Yeah. And this would be, you know, it could be used the same way. So if a man is dishonest and cheating on his wife, he might have a mistress, another woman who is regularly his lover. Yeah. And I think they talk about gray because they're talking about the Navy. These are military ships that are painted gray color. And so I guess that's why it's the gray mistress. And, well, I suppose it would make sense because you're spending so much time on the ship, more than you ever do with your wife or family. It's
Yes,
kind of
it is true.
yeah, sad to say that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I know very well because my father is officer Navy.
Okay, yeah. And then just imagine you've worked your entire career on a ship, let's say, and then it sinks and disappears forever. And so, you know, like a doctor working in the hospital forever and then having it all burned down or something and disappear. It's right. And so, great. So then let's keep moving on here. Sorry. And so, Herman, could you read this, please?
Ha, he says in the Royal Navy. The ship is referred to as your grey mistress because the captain spent more time with her than his wife. And the captain will do everything in his power to save the ship and all the people on board, if it's about to sink. But I wonder if this is an old-fashioned custom and maybe everyone should try to just save themselves. I don't think a captain would ever think about doing that.
Okay, and I'll get you to stop there. All right, and so good. And then, right. Sorry, I thought I was going to say something. Any comments? Okay, great. And so, good. Now let's see what the answer is to the question. Julissa, could you read this, please?
Okay. Maybe. So have you given any thought to my question? I ask you if you know how much does the world's biggest cruise ship, Oasis of the Seas, weigh? Is it A, 2,500 tons, B, 25,000 tons, C, 250,000 tons? Yeah, and I said it might be 250,000 tons. Rob, you are right. The Oasis of the Sea weighs more than 250,000 tons. It can carry 6,000 people and it has more than 3 miles of electrical cabling. That is about the distance from London to New York.
And that's a big ship.
That's a big,
yeah.
That's a big ship for a captain to be responsible for.
Okay, great. And 3,000, I'm not sure. And then just in English, we have the and or the in as an option between the hundreds and the tens here. And so, so 250. But this number here, 2,500. There's no and where the comma is. So 2,500. Yeah. Okay, great. And so
I have a comment.
Yes, great.
I heard that someone says, for example, for the answer B, 2,500.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's one. Sorry, A, 2,500.
Exactly. Yes, that's very common.
It's another way to say the same thing.
Yes, exactly. 2,500 would be 2,500. And so, for example, this number here, it could be pronounced as
1,200.
1200, exactly. So you'll need to listen for that. Yeah.
And that's the same for the years, right?
Yeah, but then what do we say?
Years
20.
is different.
No, but then we
Yeah.
don't say the other option. So you need to use it for the years. So that's a good question. Let me think about this here for a second. But this year here, I don't think anyone would say the year 1800. We would say 1800, the year 1800.
But I thought that, for
Sorry?
example, in this year, 2013, some people say
Yes.
it's 2013.
Yes, but both options now are okay. So you can say 2013 or 2013 or 2013. I just think that people will go back to the original method of saying 2013 because it's faster. It's easier to say. And that's our old system, like 1980, for example. I don't think we ever said the year 1980. We would never say that. Okay, and so the people, you have the transcript, so let's listen. Let's listen to the podcast, and it's 6 minutes long. So just give me 1 minute to get it started.
Minute English from bbclearningenglish.com.
Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Rob and joining me today is Jen.
Hi.
Hi Jen. Now I'm sure like everyone else you heard the news recently about the cruise ship, the Costa Concordia, which hit some rocks and capsized or overturned.
Yes, I did hear. It really was a dreadful story. Terrible news for everyone involved.
Yeah, it was a terrible disaster. People have been discussing and speculating how it happened and particularly about the actions of the captain. In today's programme, we're talking about what is and what isn't acceptable behaviour for the captain of a ship during a disaster at sea.
In other words, the captain's etiquette. But Rob, shouldn't we start with a question?
Of course, I hadn't forgotten. As we're talking about ships, I wonder if you know how heavy the world's biggest cruise ship, Oasis of the Seas, weighs. Is it 2,500 tonnes, 25,000 tonnes, or 250,000 tonnes?
Well, I can honestly say I've got no idea about how much a cruise ship would weigh, but I guess if it's the world's biggest, I'll go for the biggest number, 250,000 tonnes.
Okay, well, I'll reveal the answer at the end of the programme. So today we're talking about the role of the captain on a ship. In the recent disaster involving the Costa Concordia, it was alleged the captain abandoned ship before all his passengers had escaped. Well, whether this is true or not, what should the captain do in such a situation?
Well, when the famous ship Titanic sank in 1912, the captain was the last on board.
Very heroic. And let's hear from another heroic man, Lord West of Spithead. He used to be the professional head of the British Royal Navy, what is called the First Sea Lord. He was captain of HMS Ardent in the Falklands War and was the last man on board when it sank.
So he understands why abandoning ship is never an option for a captain, even during a disaster. Here he is speaking to the BBC's James Naughtie about the history of this captain's etiquette. What does he say is expected of a captain?
Well, I think it's a very important custom and a rule. It goes, if you think back to things like the Titanic, the Lusitania, the captain stayed on the bridge until they were washed off as the ship sank. And I think it is expected of a captain to remain on board, to look after the safety and security of his people until the last one has gone.
So, in a disaster, he thinks staying at the ship's controls, or what is called the bridge, is an important custom and rule. It's the expected behaviour.
Yes, it's what people expect the captain to do. He is responsible for the safety and security of his passengers until the last one has gone. On the Titanic, the captain was finally washed off the bridge as it sank.
But even if captains are obeying the rules or doing what they think is right, there could be something else that compels them to stay on board. This is something that the BBC's James Naughtie asked Lord West of Spithead.
It's more than that, isn't it? It's more than a practical question of, being in charge until the rescue is complete. It's something that's in the DNA of a seagoing person. It's unthinkable, isn't it? It goes utterly against the grain to be anything but the last man off.
That is absolutely right. It's a core aspect of duty.
So that's James Naughtie suggesting that staying until everyone is off the ship is part of a captain's DNA. It's in their genes.
He used a good phrase. It goes utterly against the grain. It goes against the grain to be anything but the last man off. In other words, you do the opposite of what is usually done.
Or you're not willing to abandon ship because it contradicts what you believe in. And Lord West of Spithead agrees. He says it's a core aspect of duty. It's the most important part.
Basically, the ship is the captain's top priority, even more important than his wife and family.
Incredible, isn't it? And Lord West of Spithead uses a name to describe what captains call their ships. Have a listen to this.
Certainly in the Royal Navy, it's referred to as your grey mistress, because you spend you spend more time looking after your ship and being with your ship and everything than you ever do with your wife, your family. And it's an absolute part of you. And there comes a stage where you'll fight like mad to keep your ship safe and to look after it and secure it. And then you have to make a decision that it's too late, the ship is going to go. You then have to look after your people and the people you're responsible for.
Ha! He says in the Royal Navy the ship is referred to as your grey mistress because the captain spends more time with her than his wife.
And the captain will do everything in his power to save the ship and all the people on board if it's about to sink. But I wonder if this is a bit of an old-fashioned custom and maybe everyone should just try to save themselves.
I don't think a captain would ever think about doing that.
Maybe. So have you given any thought to my question? I asked you if you know how much does the world's biggest cruise ship, Oasis of the Seas, weigh? Is it 2,500 tonnes, 25,000 tonnes or 250,000 tonnes?
And I said I thought it might be 250,000 tonnes.
Do you know what, Jen? You're right.
Oh,
well done.
Wow.
Yes, the Oasis of the Seas weighs more than 250,000 tonnes. It can carry 6,000 people and it has more than 3,000 miles of electrical cabling. That's about the distance from London to New York. That's a big ship for a captain to be responsible for. OK, Jen, well, we've just got time for you to remind us of some of the vocabulary that we've heard today.
Yes, we heard capsized, speculating, etiquette, abandoned, heroic, custom, compels, genes, contradicts, mistress.
Thanks a lot, Jen. And that's all we've got time for in today's programme. Please do join us again for more 6-Minute English on our website.
Hello, can people hear me?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, and so good, we've got some time. And so I don't know, I think I would like to continue reading the document, some of the information that I found about the disaster with the cruise ship. So I'm maybe going to bring this up on the screen share, and then after we finish reading this, we can make some comments. And so this is just a short bit of text here. And so who was the last one to read? Julissa, I believe. And so I'd like to say hello to, Mardoke Sousa? Mardoke Sousa. Okay, we can't hear you. You may need to turn on your microphone. Mine, could you read this for us?
Okay, Costa Concordia victims last moments revealed. Thursday, 5th March 2013 by Nick Pisa, Sky reporter. Details of the final moments of the 32 people who died in the Costa Concordia cruise ship tragedy have emerged in a prosecution report.
Okay, so this is very recent news, and just a month ago. when the information came out. Okay, and maybe I'll keep moving on here. Victor, could you read some of this for us, please?
Okay, and the 50-page document makes up the official request to have Captain Francisco Scatino, who was in charge at the time, sent for trial. He is accused of multiple manslaughter, causing a disaster, failing to inform authorities of what had happened, and abandoning ship while dozens of passengers were still on board.
And I'll stop there. Do people understand the idea of manslaughter? It sounds horrible in English, but
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
kills a group of people at one time.
Yeah, no, but actually that's not what that's what it sounds like. You're right, Victor. That's what it sounds like, but that's not what it means. Sorry.
Yes.
Manslaughter is yeah. You heard about it?
It's,
kill
it's
people.
someone who makes love to everyone.
Oh,
Maybe.
no, sorry. No, sorry. Who makes love to everyone? Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
No.
Just the murderer.
Yeah. Now, well, okay. Sorry, Mine, did you want to try?
I think this is the murder. It's crime, killing a human, but not willingly.
Yeah, okay, not willingly.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm just going to turn off the screen share here for a second. So, I think the idea with manslaughter is someone died and you are responsible for killing them, but it was not your intention. But I think the idea is, though, that you were irresponsible or you were negligent. And so, for example, drunk driving would be an example of that. So if you're drunk and you fall asleep at the wheel and you kill someone, that is a form of manslaughter. So it's not murder. You didn't mean to kill them, but what you did caused their death. And so you are, sorry?
Yeah, in an indirect way.
Yeah, in an
Not
indirect
in a
way.
direct way, indirect way.
Yeah. Well, you may have killed them
Yes.
directly, but it was not your intention. You are not essentially a murderer. You did not plan to kill the person, but you are responsible for their death. And so, yeah. All right. So let's keep going here. Sorry. And so, Ampre, could you read this for us, please?
More than 4,000 passengers and crew were on board the doomed Costa Concordia when it struck rocks after Scatino allegedly changed course in order to carry out a sail by salute of a Mediterranean island to impress holiday makers.
Yeah. So, what people understand the idea here? Any questions? That's a lot of passengers. I didn't know there were that many people on the ship, because they talked about that huge ship having 6,000 passengers. Here are some of the people who died, unfortunately, the victims. And let's keep moving on. I want to say hello to Carlos. Are you there?
Yeah, hi.
Yes,
I'm
hi
here.
there. Great. Where are you connecting from?
I'm in Brazil right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So could you read this for us, please?
Yeah,
It
the
begins
70-meter gash allowed water to pour in, and the ship eventually capsized and came to rest on its side at a location known as Seagull Point, just outside the harbor on the island of Giglio in January last year, hours into a 7-day cruise. The chaotic scenes of panic and disorganization that gripped the ship as it started to sink are evident throughout the report.
Okay. And a gash is a large tear or hole in the ship. And Felipe has put manslaughter is the unintentional accidental killing of another through carelessness. Yeah, good. That's a good word. Carelessness. Okay. And so, right, you can imagine 70-meter long gash or tear in the boat. So it must have started sinking instantly, but he drove it right into the rocks. Herman, could you read this?
Relatives of the victims staged a memorial last month.
Okay, and so these are the families. The ship has been taken to an area where it's going to be scrapped, cut apart, and the metal reused. Could you continue reading, please?
Yes. The prosecution report also details how Schettino was distracted by the inopportune presence of unauthorized persons on the bridge of the Concordia, including several crew members and passengers. Hostess Dominica Kemorton, who has seen enjoying dinner with the captain minutes before the ship struck the rocks.
Okay, great. And so, yeah, there was a big party going on in the bridge. This is what people allege. This is what people think happened. And Julissa, could you read this for us? It also details
how Schettino was distracted as he was speaking on the telephone while he was in close proximity to the coast, in a dangerous situation and with the helm under manual control.
Okay, so people understand that? Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Here's our hero here, and then this really is the phrase of the century. Mine, could you read this?
Francisco, I don't know the house.
Yeah, neither do I.
Schettino said he tripped it and fell into the lifeboat. Schettino, 52, has insisted he is innocent of all charges and that the rocks were not marked on his chart. He said he should be thanked as his action in steering the ship back towards the port at Giglio saved hundreds of lives.
Okay, and so he has another side of the story, but the captain tripping and falling into a lifeboat, well, okay. I don't know. You can choose to believe that or not. So, all right. And so, I don't know. We have some time for comments.
Did he get some prison punishment?
But this is a new story. So the report has just come out. And sorry, I'm just basing my knowledge from that article. So he's going to now be sent to trial. And so they didn't even. This is just the beginning stage of the investigation. So they've taken this long to gather all of the information and complete the investigation of what happened. So, yeah. All right.
I think recently they have two news about the cruise also. One is the cruise is stuck in the ocean and no electricity, food. I think 2 weeks ago. Did you remember the news? And today I saw another news on the TV, and it's the same cruise. They have in the cruise has a damage, and
now sorry, the cruise line is the company,
yes,
and then the cruiser or the cruise ship,
cruise ship has damage. They show the picture, and at the same cruise, in a short time they have two different case or
cases, situations. Well, yeah, okay. and then how do you feel when you go on a boat or when you're on a bus and the bus driver is driving? How do you feel when you're in an airplane and the captain or the pilot is responsible? So, Victor, a comment from you? Any comment you'd like to make?
Yeah, I've just saw the movie Life of Pi. Maybe you heard of it. An Oscar movie, Oscar picture.
I've heard
It
of it.
tells that a child can live without any support on the Pacific Ocean. This is just a romance picture, but when I heard the cruise tragic, it gave me some lesson that when I travel with cruise, especially big cruise, I should be careful, and maybe if I have chance, I will take other traffic other like trains or
Yeah.
just cars.
Another form of transportation.
Yeah, other form of transportation.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great, excellent. And so I'd just like to get comments from the people who were participating with us, and I'll come back to the new students if there's time. Ampray, do you have a comment?
Yes, it's very dangerous for me to travel in a ship or a cruise because I don't know how to swim.
Oh, okay,
So,
right. So you need to wear your life jacket.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and in some situations, depending on where you are, the water is so cold that you really must get into a lifeboat because you will not last very long in the cold water, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, and Carlos, a comment from you, please.
No, no comments. I just wanted to thank you for letting me in. Thanks a lot.
Well, thanks for joining us. Herman, a comment from you?
Well, always I travel with, I don't know, an airplane or a train. I try to do not think much in an accident or something weird, because you know, when something is out of your control, no matter what happens, if you are not in control, you are just depending of your luck.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
oh,
No, well, I think maybe the only thing in your control is to review the safety information and
yeah,
look
that's right.
where the emergency exits are and yeah, that kind of thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. There's not much you can do about it. Things are
Yes,
out of
try
your
to
control.
enjoy the trip
Yeah,
and
sure.
don't think much in
Yeah.
travels.
Okay, great. And Julissa, a comment from you?
The behavior of the captain, I think that it is like a tradition for them to, I think, to stay until the last moment. Well, for the ones that believe in their tradition, it's okay. But I think that also at that moment, when the things are going under control, I guess that the captains have also the need to save their lives. So that's why they try to also save them.
Yeah, no. Yeah, your sound is a little broken, but yeah. No,
Behavior.
yeah. No, I agree. It's much more than a tradition. So yeah, and it was possible that he fell out of the ship. I mean, the ship was tilted right over. But yeah, tripping and falling into a lifeboat, I don't know. And Mine, a final comment?
In my view, if I have read something, it's happened. That's the reason I try to avoid those kind of the bad thinking in my mind. And also, I remember when I took the cruise last time, they training us first we entered the ship, and it is really safe and good, but it happens. We cannot do anything.
No, sure. Yeah. Okay, great. And I just wanted to say, Ahmed, hello? Ahmed Samir? Okay, well, we're out of time, but thanks to everyone. Great participation as always. Super group from all over the world. And I hope you found that interesting. come to my Facebook page and give me some specific ideas for classes. And it's easy for me to find information on the internet about whatever you want to talk about. And so let me know your ideas, and talk to you soon.
Thank
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy sailing.
Bye.